Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Connor Williams, joined by Owen Parks, and we are doing the preview for the Burnley Everton game away at Turf Moor. A team that you watched, I think, very different from the last time you watched them. Were a fan of them, Owen. They seem to have undergone quite a radical change in the year and a half they've been out the Premier League. Year and a half, 2 years, is it? Give me your thoughts on Burnley and where they are to where they were to where they are now.
Yeah, I think it's clear that they've gone in a different direction. I'm not going to criticise that because when you've lost 12 players, I think there's more. I think a Burnley fan, maybe they're watching, they'll be able to clarify for me how many were out of contract when they got relegated, but I think it was a lot. So when you lose basically all your team and you get relegated, I think it's only inevitable that you are going to go in a different direction anyway. So I've no issue with that. They had a really good season last season, and I was sort of it sounds I was kind of pleased for them that they came straight back up because I know that last season was quite difficult for Burnley supporters. Um, as of this one, this one's been much worse. Reading the social media, um, I think there's a crossroads between what company would like to play versus what's possible, and they're sort of in that mix between do we change in order to give ourselves a chance of staying up, or do we keep what we're doing in the hope that um company can get more control over the club and get more suited to Premier League football with his style eventually. I don't know, but I've got no criticism of what they've done because I think there was no players left, so I'm not sure. They had the same group of players and they were doing that. I'd be quite critical because there would have been a clear template of how to play with them players, but they brought in completely different players. So I think, yeah, good luck to them. I think they've started the season really poorly, but I did expect that because I don't think such a young team, such an open team, I've never seen that work in the Premier League straight from promotion. So I did expect them to be where they are, but I'm not. I don't think that's too much of a judgment of what they can do in the long term. I just think this season is going to be a real painful season for them, and like has been.
Well, before we get on to the rest of Burnley, it is an interesting conversation. Obviously, when we were looking for a manager, I did see people. Obviously, this was last year when Burnley were high flying in the Championship. And I did see a few people say Vincent Company. His name was touted by one or two. Um, Obviously, Burnley had gone through a mass, like you said, they'd got a load out the door, but they'd also brought a load through the last two windows, especially that first one. There was a lot of announcement videos making the rounds. Um, what is it that you think? Because it's not the first time we've seen a team go down, do really well in the Championship, come up, and not do so well. Norwich also spring to mind as one of these. What is it you think that people miss when they see Burnley in the Championship, and then maybe get a bit ahead of themselves and assume it translates to the Prem? I'm speaking more like fans than company. I don't think he has that.
So what do you mean the expectation?
Yeah, and why it doesn't work as well.
I think the expectation is because this is anyone. I think you sit down and watch a team run home every single week, 3 or 4 nil. Your natural instinct will be, but we'll still win well, not most, but a good number of games more closer, more closely if even if we just take a step up. But the reason it doesn't work is because you've got even mid-table teams who can just buy and sell you under the table at this level with just, and maybe not even, they may not even be technically or sort of quality-wise better than you, but the nous they've got and the resilience and the experience they've got of sort of seeing themselves through a season is it just is just priceless in the Premier League, and I think that's what them teams have over. We're talking Burnley or Norwich as a case point here. But then you've got the top teams who are just miles better than them, and if you go to toe with them, they're going to beat you 4 or 5-0 every time. So you've got the sort of experience, streetwise teams who can outsmart you and get round you quite easily, and then the sort of top teams with Man Cities and Tottenhams and Villas and Liverpools and that who can just turn up in second gear and put a few past you, and then it's really difficult. And so you've seen Burnley, their only kind of wins they've got against teams who they came up with. That's what they were used to playing, and they were very lucky against Luton. So I think that's been their issue. I don't think they were ever going to do it another way. But I think the problem is the defence lacks a lot of protection, and then the goalkeeper's a young goalie, and the strikers they've been playing Jay Rodriguez up there, who's sort of coming to the end now, and so there's not really enough guard, and they've got Colio Show, who I think is a good player, but they've lost the sort of guard to win games, and the defence just isn't Premier League level. So I think it'd be difficult for them full stop to win games. To be honest with you.
Really, I think the standard as well in the Premier League is gets better every year, which doesn't help if teams that stay up have more money to spend. And the ones who do, by the way, as I mentioned, Norwich and Burnley, I should also shout the likes of Brentford and Nottingham Forest, who've done well to stay here, adapted football. And Brentford have been here for the last, I think it's 3 seasons now, isn't it? Well, 3, 4.
Yeah. I mean, it goes under the radar, but they've not spent really any money, Brentford, in reality, into what it all is. I mean, even though they've been there, 11 seasons, Crystal Palace, still in the Premier League, still going, difficult season this season, but they are still in the Premier League and still quite comfortable in the Premier League. And they spend absolutely nothing. So, and they had one season where they spent a lot of money, and that sort of was an investment for the next 3 or 4 years rather than just 1 year. So I think these are the teams that Burnley come up against, and I think they've lost to both of them teams we've just mentioned there. So it just proves how difficult it is.
You mentioned the strikers, you said sort of, Rodriguez, and then sort of after that, is there anyone that worries you that might cause us a bit of trouble in this Burnley squad?
I would have said Luca Colio show. I think what I've seen from him, he can really sort of get to the byline and just beat his man and sort of cut it across. I think that would have caused a few issues. I think Sander Berge had a slow start at Burnley, but I think he's sort of growing into what it is. Um, um, I think they've got a lot of young wingers who they might do or they might not. So you're looking at it, could they maybe have one of those days where they sort of take the game away from you? Certainly capable. I think Josh Brownhill's been around the Premier League a while. I think he's a decent player. But other than that, I think it's a lot of Championship players who um, are sort of trying to discover what it is to be a Premier League player, rather than any of them really keeping me up at night too much.
To us, how do you think we're going to? Well, firstly, who do you think the team's going to be? Who do you think Sean Dyche is going to put out to combat this Burnley team away at Turf Moor?
So I think you'll have sort of Pickford, Young, Tarkowski. I don't know, Keane, fit Keane, I don't know, probably Ben Godfrey, Vitali Mikalenko, and sort of Onana and Ghana, Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, Duke, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Are you obviously the big one is the centre backs. Guay being out isn't much of one because he's just going to go back to Ghana and Onana. Would you much more? Who would you prefer to see more? Michael Keane or Ben Godfrey, or either or?
I would probably prefer Michael Keane, but if he's not fit, as a result, if there's any doubt over any of his fitness or his confidence or anything like that, I would just throw Ben Godfrey in because a damaged Keane is probably the worst thing in the world, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's edging towards get Ben Godfrey getting the goal.
Obviously, this game for us as well is, well, I was going to say it's, if you'd asked me 2 games ago, I'd have said, this is the one, but it's in the middle of a really hard run. And we still are, although we've won the games, we've played well to win them. It's still a hard run. This is a good opportunity for us, though. One, playing a team that are, in and right below us. One, because of the standard, no offense to Burnley, but their squad's not quite the Newcastle or Chelsea squads. But it's also a chance to separate that gap a little bit more between us and the bottom, isn't it? They sit in 19th on 8 points. We're in 17 with 13 points. This could be a really good opportunity to, separate that gap, potentially leapfrog Forest, put them down there.
Yeah, I think it is a big game. I think if we win it, I think I'll probably sort of have very little worry about getting sucked into a relegation battle at this point. I think that obviously it won't be that, but I think we'll possibly get some points back. So that this talk probably academic anyway, because if we get points back, there's no way we go down. But if we win this game and then look to that, I think these players are too mentally strong and good really to get sucked into anything at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's normally we do quite well at Turf Moor, during the festive period. I think Boxing Day a couple of seasons ago, we was it 5 goals we'd scored? Was it 5-1, something like that?
Was, yeah. I think other than that, I think we've had a difficult run other than that though. When's the
Yeah,
last time we won there? I think that was the last time we won there.
I was
Yeah,
going to say maybe it's because it's like 5 goals. It's the one that sticks in my head.
actually,
So
I think that was the only time we have won there since they came back up the second time. I think that was the only one we won. We lost the
jeez.
one in the last minute where and we lost the first one when it was in the last minute, and we lost when Allardyce was there. Then we won 5-1. Then we lost when Coleman got sent off. Then we drew in COVID. Then we lost that. Um, a very good game, 3-2, and we all thought we were down. So we haven't actually really got a good record there at all.
That
But
that last game, is that the one where he'd gone in at half time? Sean Dyche said like, "These don't have the bottle for this."
yeah, I don't think these know how to win a game.
Yeah, that is. I mean, thank God he's on our side this time, because that is
It was a pretty sobering morning.
yeah. Yeah. Well, my final question then is, what's your score prediction for the game?
I'll be positive and say a professional 2-0 win.
Nice, nice. I like that. Yeah, I'd echo that. I think 2-0 is a fair one. Another clean sheet as well, which would be brilliant for us. That is all we've got time for, though. Thank you for joining me, Owen. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, really good.
Don't forget,
Really
guys, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your score predictions for the game. We look forward to reading them, and we'll see you soon.